Going up. Tonight we are going to be in the second half of the 51st chapter of the book of Jasher. We'll be continuing on from yesterday where we stopped at verse 33. So if you guys are reading along or if you're watching this at another point in time, that's right where we're at. And I always encourage you, no matter what it is that we go over and we read here, even though we're reading from the word, make sure that you go and read it for yourself. All right. Be responsible for yourself. Go read it for yourself. OK. All right. Great. The one thing I am going to ask is that for those that do come in, when you guys come in, kind of monitor the chat. OK, kind of monitor the chat. We're not worried about trolls. We're not tripping off trolls and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, for those that's coming through, we want to put up some sort of defense. We don't want to just leave ourselves open. The Lord tells us to put on our whole entire armor of God. That also includes us monitoring the chat and keeping the conversations focused on Christ. We don't want to come here and go off on a tangent. We want to come here and hear the word. That's what we're here for. All right. Okay, so
What does a trolls mean?
Trolls are individuals that come just to deceive, to destroy, to try to distract, to try to draw attention away from the reason why we're all here. Okay, so who remembers what we went over yesterday on the first half of the 51st chapter of the book of Jasher? Go ahead.
I remember that the brothers went to Egypt not only to look for Joseph, but to get grain, and they went through 10 gates.
They split up, went through 10 different gates. They are now in Egypt, and they're in front of Joseph.
They don't even know it.
But they don't know.
And
And
so
how
Joseph
they
gave him a
said-
hard time.
How Joseph said that they were spies.
Joseph said they were spies. He's giving them a hard time, right? Okay.
And then I remember he told them
And
to go get
and-
their brother Benjamin.
Oh, that's right where we stopped. We stopped right where Joseph told them, okay, well, if y'all telling the truth, then I tell you what. Go back home and get your youngest brother and bring him. Now, for the brothers, for the 10 brothers that are there from the sons of Jacob, this is a major issue, right? Because when Jacob sent them, he told them to leave Benjamin because he does not want to want what happened to Joseph in his mind happen to Benjamin, right? Right. And so now they're in a situation where the only way they can get grain that they must have, right, is to go back home and to get their brother, right? Now, was it in Jubilees when we read Jubilees that we also went over this?
Yeah, I remember you said they slapped their donkeys or something.
Oh, okay. So it was Jubilees where it really broke it down. Boy, if you guys haven't dipped off into the book of Jubilees, then whoo, you can get a real understanding. I always say that when you take, hey, Frisbee, if I don't say your name right, it's nothing personal, you feel me? It's nothing but love here. We're all here for Christ. At the end of the day, no matter what name you know him as, you know the Hebrew one. Hair like wool, feet like burnt brass. Yeah, that one. We all here for the Lord, okay?
I also remember that Jacob treated Benjamin better than the other brothers when he came.
Well, we know that Jacob treated Joseph better than the rest of his brothers because he was the son of his old age, right? But with Joseph being gone, he has now passed that on to Benjamin. He's holding on to Benjamin tight, and he doesn't want anything happening to Benjamin, right? Okay, so let's dive into it. Let's see how deep that is going to get as far as for tonight, and let's go with it, okay? We're at verse 33. We're picking up from where we stopped off yesterday. If you weren't here yesterday, no worries. Please go and check us out and continue to read the word with us. Make sure you're reading your word on your own as well. All right, verse 33. Only hereby shall I know that you are true men. Joseph is talking right now, and he's talking to the 10 brothers, saying that he's calling them spies, and he's saying that, look, man, if you guys want me to believe you, if you want me to give you grain, go back home and get your little brother. So this is what's happening right now, just so everybody understands. This is Joseph talking to his other 10 brothers while he is the second in command in Egypt. The 10 brothers do not know. The sons of Jacob, they do not know that this is Joseph that they're talking to. But Joseph knows that this is his brothers that he's talking to. Okay? If you will send home one from amongst you to fetch your youngest brother from your father and bring him here unto me, and by doing this thing I will know that you are right. And Joseph called to 70 of his mighty men, and he said unto them, take these men and bring them into the ward. Now, the ward is kind of like a holding cell, right? The same place that Joseph, similar to the place that Joseph was sent to, right? Okay. And the mighty men took the 10 men, and the mighty men took the 10 men. They lay hold of them and put them into the ward, and they were in the ward 3 days. And on the third day, Joseph had brought them out of the ward. So Joseph sends his brothers, boom, over to I'm not going to be answering a lot of questions. When we get to the end, we will most definitely speak to everybody. Hello, thank you guys for coming in. Share the live stream. So Joseph sent his brothers into the ward, into the jail for 3 days and left them there, right? Oh man, this is a little bit of, we don't want to say revenge, but this is a little bit of repercussions for what they had done to Joseph in the first place, right? You guys don't mind the light going in and out for whatever reason. I have the tendency to move around a lot, and so that's just what it is. All right, Holy Spirit, let's go. And on the third day, Joseph had them brought out of the ward, and he said unto them, do this for yourselves if you be true men, so that you may live. One of your brethren shall be confined in the ward while you go and take home the grain for your household to the land of Canaan. So he's going to allow them to have the grain that they desire, but one of them has to stay with him. All of them remained with him for 3 days and stayed inside the jail, right? Now he's brought them out of the low holding cell that they were in. And now he's saying, okay, one of you's going to stay here with me while the rest of you go home and fetch your little brother. Now, this is also a problem, right? Because Jacob doesn't want any of his sons not coming back in the group, right? And he's most definitely going to have an issue when he says, give us Benjamin and let us bring Benjamin back, right? Okay. And fetch your youngest brother and bring him here unto me, that I may know that you are true men when you do this thing. And Joseph went out from them and came into the chamber and wept a great weeping, for his pity was excited for them. And he washed his face and returned to them again. And he took Simeon from them and ordered him to be bound. But Simeon was not willing to be done so, for he was a very powerful man, and they could not bind him. So listen, okay? Everything that's going on is affecting Joseph so much that as these things are happening, Joseph has to step away for a second and go wash his face because he's crying for his brothers right now. He's excited. He sees them. He loves them. He knows that what he's doing, he's trying to teach them a lesson as well. But he's already heard what they said. They have come to the point to where they're ready to run up on whoever is over Joseph or Joseph has been sold to and take him by strong arm, if necessary, up out of Egypt right now. Right? So the feelings that they have for him before are not the same as they are now. Because we know at the beginning when we were studying, it was showing us how much disdain that Joseph's brothers had for him. But over this time of 17 years, Joseph has been humbled and his brothers has been humbled as well. Right? Okay. So so Joseph decides that he wants Simeon to stay, but Simeon is not willing to be taken control of. Okay? And Joseph called unto his mighty men, and 70 valiant men came before him with drawn swords in their hands. And the sons of Jacob were terrified at them. And Joseph said unto them, seize this man and confine him in prison until his brethren come to him. And Joseph's valiant men hastened, and they all laid hold of Simeon to bind him. And Simeon gave a loud and terrible shriek, and the cry was heard at a distance. And all the valiant men of Joseph were terrified at the sound of the shriek, that they fell upon their faces, and they were greatly afraid and fled. This is similar to what would happen when the brothers would be in battle, right? They had a battle cry that they would do that would cause fear and terror to come into the people. Okay? All right.
How?
Huh?
How?
Well, you've never been in the middle of a brawl or anything like that, so you can't understand it without going through something that's similar, right? Okay. Verse 41. And all the men that were with Joseph fled, for they were greatly afraid of their lives. And only Joseph and Manasseh, his son, remained there. And Manasseh, the son of Joseph, saw the strength of Simeon, and he was exceedingly wroth. Now you got to remember, Joseph has two sons, right? Which are direct descendants of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? Okay, so now this strength that was passed down to the sons of Jacob originally laid in Abraham. And if you go all the way back and you read the blessing that Abraham had laid upon Isaac, which then was laid upon Jacob, then you would understand that this is something that is been passed down kind of like as an inheritance to his people, okay? And Manasseh, the son of Joseph, rose up to Simeon. And Manasseh smote Simeon a heavy blow with his fist against the back of his neck. And Simeon was stilled of his rage. So look, so Manasseh came up on Simeon and hit him in the back of his neck, right? Normally, this wouldn't bother Simeon at all. But Manasseh has the same blood flowing through him as Simeon does. You understand? Okay. And Manasseh laid hold of Simeon, and he seized him violently, and he bound him, and brought him into the house of confinement. And all the sons of Jacob were astonished at this act of the youth. Because you got to remember that these guys know that they kill thousands, be wiping cities of people out. No problem. But then this one boy has done this to one of their brothers, and they're looking and they're saying, how is this possible? Because remember, the brothers don't know that Manasseh is their nephew. They don't know this, right? Okay. And Simeon said unto his brethren, none of you must say that this was the smiting of an Egyptian, but it is the smiting of the house of my father. Simeon at that point knew that this is not something that an Egyptian can do to me, right? Somehow, some way, this dude has the same blood as we do. Now, that's very easy to understand when you understand Eber, when you understand Shem, when you understand the spreading of the bloodline. There's tons of people who have the bloodline of Abraham. There's tons of people who have there's a large amount of people who have the bloodline of Abraham and Isaac. There's a certain amount of people that have the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand? Yeah. But this blessing was passed down from Abraham. You understand? Okay. Verse 45. And after this, Joseph ordered him to be called, who was set over the storehouse, to fill their sacks with grain as much as they could carry. Now check this out. The brothers are in front of Joseph. Joseph sends them to the ward or to a holding cell for 3 days, brings them out the holding cell, says one of them has to stay with him. He refuses to stay. They bind him and they put him into the prison, right? Then they turn around after this aggressive action has just happened, right? And he gives them grain. This had to be confusing to the sons of Jacob as it was happening, right? He gives them grain, okay? And after this, Joseph ordered him to be called, who was over the storehouse, to fill their sacks with grain as much as they could carry, and to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the road, and thus did he unto them. And Joseph commanded them, saying, take heed lest you transgress my orders to bring your brother as I have told you. And it shall be when you bring your brother hither unto me, then I will know that you are true men, and you shall traffic in the land, and I will restore you unto your brother, and you shall return in peace to your father. So Joseph is saying, don't you guys dare forget to do what I told you to do. Don't take this food, go home, and just leave your brother here, right? And Joseph is saying this because he's in the back of his head. He's like, because I know that that's what you'll do, because that's what you did to me, right? The whole thing is a test. Not only is it a test, but he also wants to see all of his brothers. Because remember, at this point, Due to his position, Joseph cannot just pick up and go back to Jacob and live with Jacob. He has responsibility now, right? He has a position to hold now. And he has a nation of people underneath him that are dependent upon him to make it through this famine, right? Okay. Verse 47. And they all answered and said, according as our Adonai speaks, so will we do. And they bowed down to him to the ground. And every man lifted his grain upon his donkey. And they went out to go to the land of Canaan to their father. And they came to the inn, and an inn is a place or a location where people sleep and rest. It's kind of
Campsite
like a campsite, okay?
or a hotel.
Or like a hotel. There you go. And Levi spread his sack to give provender to his donkey. And he saw, and behold, his money in full weight was still in his sack. So they leave out of that place, right? They already got something on their mind, and they're moving fast because they're trying to get home, because they're trying to figure out how to solve this situation, because this is the second time they didn't went out as a group, and now one of them's missing, and they got to explain this to their father, right? But when they stop to feed the donkeys, right, and they open up their sacks, lo and behold, the money that they paid for the grain is still inside their sack. So now they're sitting there and they're like, man, what's going on? Right? They're already flustered because not only is their brother still in Egypt, he was taken control of by Manasseh, right? They don't know it's Manasseh, but he was something that has happened that has never happened to them before. They have suffered defeat in a battle type situation. And this is totally opposite to what is normally goes on, right? Okay. 49. And the man was greatly afraid, and he said unto his brethren, my money has been restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And the men were greatly afraid, and they said, what is this that Elohim, or the Most High, has done unto us? See, when you're guilty, you have that guilty conscience when you know that you've done a sin. They've been lying to their father. They didn't just lie to him once. They have been continuously lying to him for 17 years. You understand? And when you are continuing in sin, in the back of your mind, every little thing that happens triggers that thought, triggers what you did, and you're sitting there and you're saying, man, dang, am I forgiven for that? Is this the Most High? Is he doing this? And it can just throw everything off. That's why it's so important not to live in willful sin, one. And two, it's extremely important to, if you got to, go off somewhere by yourself and just confess. Confess and let it go. And the key that we learn from this situation is run from lying. Because once you lie once, you will continue to lie in order to cover up that lie, because that first lie that you said was the thing that you were afraid of coming out. So therefore, you will continuously lie down the road. And this is definitely what's going on with the sons of Jacob, because we know for 17 years they've been telling Jacob the same old lie about Joseph, right? And lo and behold, when they was on the road coming to Egypt, they concocted a plan to save Joseph and bring him back. And I don't know what they thought they was going to tell Jacob when they in this scenario brought Joseph back, right? But that's neither here nor there. Let us just learn from this situation and run from sin, man. Verse 50. And they all said, and where is Yahuwah's kindness, or the Most High's kindness with our fathers, with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that Yahuwah has this day delivered us into the hands of the king of Egypt to contrive against us? So now they're thinking the Most High has put them in this situation to fall to the hands of the king of Egypt because of what they have done. And they're saying, oh man, has the Most High forgot? We're sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're going into calling names for somebody to vouch for them. Man, sin sucks, man. I can tell you that. Sin really sucks. And I'm tired of that light. We'll be all right here. Okay, verse 52. No, excuse me, 51. And Judah said unto them, surely we are guilty sinners. I told you Soon as something happens, man, you immediately start thinking about that thing that you did that you know you wasn't supposed to do. And you start wondering if you've been forgiven. And Judah said unto them, surely we are guilty sinners before. Let's see how he breaks it down here. Yahuwah Eloheinu. Yahuwah our Elohim. Right? If you don't understand in the Sefer Bible, it breaks down the Most High's name as Yahuwah. Don't get caught up on that, because at the end of the day, when you stand before him, your relationship will be one-on-one. Sin does breed sin, Jonathan, man, and it sucks. I can tell you that. We all sinners, man. We know that. And we know as the Most High begins to take us in different directions and bring us up out of there, we can always draw back. That's part of our testimony. We can always draw back and know how sin caused sin from before has caused us something even now today to either watch ourselves, kind of like when you burn yourself, you don't want to burn yourself again, or when situations pop up. But hey, thank God for his mercy, because he still allowed us to live and forgave us, right? All right. Before the Most High, in having sold our brother, our own flesh, and wherefore do you say, where is Yahuwah's kindness with our fathers? So now Judah is checking them and saying, man, you already know that the Most High angry at us because we sold our own brother, bruh. We didn't just rough him up. We didn't just play a prank on him. We sold this dude for money. Bruh. It's a cold gang. But this is what Judah is telling them. Say, how can you be sitting there asking the Most High for his kindness when you already know that he know what we did? Verse 52. And Reuben said unto them, said I not unto you, do not sin against the lad, and you would not listen to me. Reuben is saying, man, didn't I tell you that we shouldn't do anything to this dude? I told y'all, but y'all didn't listen to me. Now Elohim requires him from us. And how dare you say, where is Yahuwah's kindness for our fathers, while you have sinned unto Yahuwah? And they tarried overnight in that place. Boy, you know that was a rough night. They stayed there all night because this thing has happened. And so they're sitting there and they're like, man, well, how do we move forward? Because who knows what trap the Most High is going to have us fall into now. We're finally getting the punishment for what we've done to Joseph. This is how they're looking at it, right? All right. You need help. Person that just answered on there. Be careful for the things that your mouth speak and the things that your fingers type. But we're going to bring some moderators in, man. So if anybody wants to be a moderator, make sure that you reach out. Verse 53. And they tarried overnight in that place, and they rose up early in the morning and laded their donkeys with their grain. And they led them and went on and came to their father's house in the land of Canaan. And Jacob and his household went out to meet his sons. And Jacob saw, and behold, their brother Simeon was not with them. And Jacob said unto his sons, where is your brother Simeon, whom I do not see? And his sons told him all that had befallen him in Egypt. Listen, man, it's cold. You can hear my kids right now there because they already know, oh, man, it's about to go down. That's the end of verse chapter 51. And we are going to stop it here tonight. We're going to pick up on 52 tomorrow because I just want to stay congruent as we continue to flow. Boy, it's only 42 verses on the next chapter. You guys want to push on?
Yeah.
Or do you guys want to cut? Okay, that's it. We're going to push on. We're going to push on. Why not? Why I concluded right there. We're going straight into chapter 51. Because 52. Thank you. That's why it's so important to have sons and daughters. All right, verse 1. And they entered their house, and every man opened his sack, and they saw, and behold, every man's bundle of money was there, at which they and their father were greatly terrified. See, now Jacob is looking and he's saying, what? You came, so they took Simeon. So wait. Somebody subdued Simeon. Didn't just take him, they subdued him while he was in his anger and his rage, knowing that he could wipe out a city almost on his own. Then they kept him and they put him in the prison. And you have to come and get who to go back? Oh, no. See, y'all got me last time, but you ain't getting me this time. So now the whole household is in an uproar. And Jacob said unto them, what is this that you have done to me? I sent your brother Joseph to inquire after your welfare, and you said unto me, a wild beast did devour him. You see how Jacob immediately brings up what has been ailing them, and it's been 17 years, and he's still bringing up this situation, right? Scars, things that hurt, traumatic events, right? Verse 3, and Simeon went with you to buy food, and you say the king of Egypt has confined him in prison, and you wish to take Benjamin to cause his death also, and bring down my gray hairs unto sorrow to Sheol on account of Benjamin and his brother Joseph. Basically, Jacob said, y'all must have been lost y'all mind. Y'all think y'all getting ready to take my youngest son? Why? So you can kill me too? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? It's a rough night in that house right now, right? Verse 4, and therefore my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. And mischief may befall him by the way in which you go, as it befell his brother. And Reuben said unto his father, you shall slay my two sons if I do not bring your son and place him before you. And Jacob said unto his sons, abide here, stay here, and do not go to Egypt. For my son shall not go with you to Egypt, nor die like his brother. And Judah said unto them, refrain ye from him until the grain is finished. He told his brothers, look, man, let's just wait until the grain is almost gone. Once the grain is almost gone, we're going to take Benjamin. We're going to go up there. Take your thumb out. We're going to take Benjamin. We're going to go up there. We're going to get our brother back, and everything's going to be good, right? Do you think Joseph put the money in the sacks as a test of his brothers? Will they steal the money, or has their heart changed? Will Benjamin trust them, or have they treated him the same as Joseph? Excellent questions, Jonathan. And that's why we're going to continue on with the reading. We may not be able to touch base with everything right now, but you will receive your answers. I can tell you that much, okay? Verse 6, and Judah said unto them, refrain ye from him until the grain is finished, and he will then say, take down your brother, when he will find his own life and the life of his household in danger from the famine. And just so you understand, I'm not trying to push your question to the side, but it's not my place really to say what I think. I think it's more important for us to take the lessons that we're going to learn from the actual word itself. Therefore, we're going to continue to read so we can all see the answers to that, with all due respect. Verse 7, and in those days, the famine was sore throughout the land. And all the people of earth went and came to Egypt to buy food, for the famine prevailed greatly again amongst them. And the sons of Jacob remained in Canaan a year and 2 months until their grain was finished. So they left Simeon up there in Egypt. And in their minds, all they know is that he's in prison, right? We're going to see the real situation. But they left him there for a year and 2 months. So this wasn't just a trip back home, turn around and come right back. Right? Mm-hmm. And you know, Joseph knows this because Joseph had to walk. Remember that? Mm-hmm. His captors were up on donkeys riding, but he had to walk. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Verse 8. And it came to pass after their grain had finished, the whole household of Jacob was pinched with hunger. And all the infants of the sons of Jacob came together, and they approached Jacob, and they all surrounded him, and they said unto him, give unto us bread, and wherefore shall we perish? Through hunger in your presence. So basically, everybody, it got to the point to where everybody, even in the house of Jacob, is starving. And this is Jacob, right? Which the blessing was directly placed upon Jacob, right? Mm-hmm. Has a brother, Esau, balling out of control, but don't have that relationship with him right now. But famine's even hitting Jacob in his house. So understand that when the Lord is sending out a message, sending out a plague, whatever it is, it has the ability to touch you, even though you're a son of Jacob. That doesn't matter in that sense. The key is if your relationship is right with the Most High, He will always make a way for you to make it out that situation. And that's what we will see from here. It's not about it's about relationship over anything else. That's like faith in Christ. It's about faith in Christ over anything else, right? It's wonderful for us to know as a people who we are. Me and my family, we got overly excited back in 2017 when we found out who we were. But we had to calm down and come back to the fact that let's not make the same mistake that our ancestors made. And let's not deny Christ. Let's accept him wholeheartedly. Let us embrace him. We don't need to worry about whatever color that they painted him, because we know and we'll tell them to their face that they was wrong. You feel me? We ain't no, we're not no suckers. But let's also embrace what Christ said. Okay. All right. Verse 10. And Jacob said unto them, and have you not seen how your children have been weeping over me this day, saying, give unto us bread, and there is none. Now therefore return and buy for us a little food. And Judah answered and said unto his father, if you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy grain for you. And if you will not send him, then we will not go down. For surely the king of Egypt particularly enjoined us, saying, you shall not see my face unless your brother be with you. For the king of Egypt is a strong and mighty king. And behold, if we shall go to him without our brother, we shall all be put to death. So see, now they're in a bind, because they know that they're not supposed to be returning to Egypt without their little brother, because they're being looked at as spies right now, right? So Joseph got him around the neck, holding him. Jacob is like, man, you're not touching my son. You ain't bringing my son. This is the second time you didn't came back with this crazy story, and one of y'all missing, right? Okay, but hunger is involved. Starvation is settling in. You understand? All right. Verse 12. Do you not know, and have you not heard, that this king is very powerful and wise? This is Judah still talking to his father. And there is not like unto him in all the earth. Behold, we have seen all the kings of the earth, and we have not seen one like that king, the king of Egypt. Surely amongst all the kings of the earth, there is none greater than Amalek, king of the Philistines. Yet the king of Egypt is greater and mightier than he. And Amalek can only be compared to one of his officers. Now, we know that this is Amalek the second that they're talking about, right? Because we understand that Amalek the first died while Isaac was still having his handling his business and was at the forefront of the story going forward, okay? Then famine's hidden. Yeah. Removing food is a great way to get people's attention when they don't want to listen. You know, as human beings, we're very hard-headed. If it was the fact that the Lord could just talk to us and we will listen and do what he said, we wouldn't even be in this position. The earth itself wouldn't be in this position. But we know that not only are we a stiff-necked people, okay, very hard-headed, but we know that human beings in general, we're stiff-necked, we're hard-headed, we don't like to listen. All right, so the Most High, still having compassion instead of destroying us, what he does is he pushes us into the position that we must go into, right? The same thing that he did with Joseph. Joseph needed to be humbled, but the only way to humble Joseph was to basically remove him for his family for 17 years, trap him in terrible situations, and force him into becoming who he needed to become. And that's the tactics that's used. That's what it is. And as a people, once we become conditioned and understand that, if we go with the flow of the Most High, instead of fighting against him so we can do us, life will be much, much easier. And we will achieve what he has for us to achieve a lot quicker. Because we can all say that Joseph, being the second in command in Egypt, is probably a way higher status than he thought he would have in his own ambitions back when he was a kid, having those dreams about being over everyone. The point is that the Most High's plan not only was better, the road was horrible and it sucked, but the end game was so much better. And it was not just a blessing for Joseph, it's a blessing to the whole world, because Egypt is feeding the world at this time. And we're going to see what happens with the sons of Jacob, how it's a blessing to them as well. Verse 13, Father, have you not seen his palace and his throne, and all his servants standing before him? You have not seen that king upon his throne in his pomp and royal appearance, dressed in his kingly robes with a large golden crown upon his head. You have not seen the honor and glory which Elohim has given unto him, and there is not like unto him in all the earth. Father, you have not seen the wisdom, the understanding, and the knowledge which Elohim has given in his heart, nor heard his sweet voice when he spoke unto us. We know not, Father, who made him acquainted with our names and all that befell us. Yet he asked also after you, saying, is your father still living, and is it well with him? See, it blew their minds when they went up before this man, right? They went up before this man, and that they don't know is their brother. He knows their names. He knows their father. He knows their history. He even knows what they did to Joseph. So all of this is like, whoa, who is this dude? And to them, they're acquainted with the fact that the Most High will bestow wisdom and ability upon any man he so chooses. So they're viewing this as, well, this is the Most High must. If someone was able to subdue Simeon, oh, the Most High had to be involved in it, because no one can stop us. We have the blessing of the Almighty on us, right? So then who gave this blessing above us? The only one that could give a blessing above our blessing would be the Almighty himself. This is, and they're verbalizing this while Judah is talking to his father, trying to get him to release Benjamin to go with them, okay? Verse 15, we know not, Father, who made him acquainted with our names and all that befell us. Yet he asked also after you, saying, is your father still living, and is it well with him? Verse 16, you have not seen the affairs of the government of Egypt regulated by him, without inquiring of Pharaoh his Adonai. You have not even seen the awe and fear which he impressed upon all the Egyptians. So they're saying that this dude is so dope, he don't even have to say nothing to the Pharaoh. He's running the show himself, and everyone respects him. We've never seen anything like this before. And lo and behold, it's the same brother that told him that this is what he was going to be. Verse 17, and also when we went from him, we threatened to do unto Egypt like unto the rest of the cities of the Amorites. And we were exceedingly wroth against all his words, which he spoke concerning us as spies. And now when we shall again come before him, his terror will fall upon us all, and not one of us will be able to speak to him, either a little or a great thing. Now therefore, Father, send, we pray you, the lad with us, and we will go down and buy you food for our support, and not die through hunger. And Jacob said, why have you dealt so ill with me to tell the king you had a brother? What is this thing that you have done unto me? And Judah said unto Jacob his father, give the lad into my care, and we will rise up and go down to Egypt and buy grain, and then return. And it shall be when we return, if the lad be not with us, then let me bear your blame forever. Have you seen all our infants weeping over you through hunger, and there is no power in your hand to satisfy them? Now let your pity be roused for them, and send our brother with us, and we will go. For how will Yahuwah's kindness to our ancestors be manifest to you when you say that the king of Egypt will take away your son? As Yahuwah lives, I will not leave him until I bring him and place him before you. But pray for us unto Yahuwah, that he may deal kindly with us, to cause us to be received favorably and kindly before the king of Egypt and his men. For he had not delayed surely now, Well, for he we not for excuse me, for had we not delayed, surely now we would have returned a second time with your son. And Jacob said unto his sons, I trust Yahuwah Elohim, that he may deliver you and give you favor in the sight of the king of Egypt and in the sight of all men. Now therefore rise up and go to the man and take for him in your hands a present from what can be obtained in the land, and bring it before him. And may El Shaddai, the El, give you mercy before him, that he may send Benjamin and Simon, your brethren, with you.
Simon?
Yeah, excuse me,
Simeon.
Simeon. Thank you, baby. Simeon, your brethren, with you. And all the men rose up, this is our last verse, and took their brother Benjamin, and they took in their hands a large present of the best of the land, and they also took a double portion of silver. And verse 24 of the 52nd chapter is where we're going to stop for tonight, because my mouth is out of any liquid in order to continue to produce words, okay? Verse 25 is what we will be picking up tomorrow, but we never like to end Bible study without going over the three things that show us in the Bible of how to have a strong relationship with the Most High. Because at the end of the day, everybody knows Jesus, but does Jesus know you? And if you wanted to make sure that he knows you, then you better have a good relationship with him, right? And the first thing that we always say is that you need to pray. Prayer is one of the most important things, because it allows you to speak to the Most High on your own behalf. You don't need to go to a pastor and have a pastor say prayers for you. You can go and approach the throne of God on your own through prayer. That's what's so great about what Christ has done. He tore the veil. There's no separation in between you. He is there standing in the gap. So pray. And when you pray, don't treat Christ like someone that you don't want to talk to. Okay, if you go to holler at somebody at the mall, you get their number or whatnot, but they only call you when they about to eat, talk to you for 2 minutes, and then they call you right before they go to bed, talk to you for 2 minutes. Do they really like you? Do you really have a relationship with you? Nah, you're not going to spend a bunch of money on that person and take that person out. They're not even giving you any time. So don't do the Most High like that. Give him time. You understand? What shampoo do you use? Clean. That's what I use. Prayer, reading your word. It's extremely important for you to read your word. Why? Because it gives you insight to how the Most High thinks. If you want to know what God said about something, don't trust somebody else. Go read it for yourself. Read your word. I understand before you used to read the word, there were some words in there you really didn't get. Somebody told you that you got that one version that doesn't have a couple of verses that's really important in it. Well, if you have accepted Christ and you have the Holy Spirit living inside of you, and the job of the Holy Spirit is to bring all things into remembrance, he will assist you in reading your word. Just start reading it. Okay, just start reading it. You want to know where? Start with Proverbs. Proverbs is really great. It could sting. It's probably going to hurt some. Start with Proverbs, or start with Luke, or start with Matthew. Start wherever you're going to start, but just start and read. Okay, at the end of the day, pray, read. And the third is fasting. Fasting is all about learning how to tell yourself no. Christ told us we are to deny ourselves, to pick up our cross, and to follow him. Well, how can you deny yourself if you don't even practice on telling yourself no, right? So start off with food. Well, why should you do that? How many prophets from the Old Testament to the New, including Christ, fasted? Almost all of them. So therefore, fasting can't be bad, right? Fast. I'm not saying go for the next 40 days, don't eat any food. No, you're going to drop down and fall and die, okay? So take it slowly. Man, say for the month of February, Monday through Wednesday, I'm not going to eat any candy. I'm not going to eat candy bars. Or say Thursdays for the month of February, I'm not going to eat any fast food. Whatever it is, start off slow. Okay, my first fast that I did was like a 3-day fast. The highest level of fast that I've done is a 5-day fast. I've heard people that have done 21-day fast. My wife has done a straight water fast. Blew my mind where she only had water. I wasn't even that skilled on that level. Okay, so what I'm saying is that we can see in the Bible that prayer, reading of your word, and fasting are 3 ways to strengthen your relationship with the Most High. So that's what we encourage, okay? And always remember that you have the ability to approach the throne of God yourself. You can go and you can talk to him. So use that while you still have the opportunity. Thank you for every single person that has came and joined in. Thank you for everybody that subscribed. At the end of the day, if we are not sharing the gospel of Christ, if we're not telling people it's nothing but the blood that can wash away their sins, if we're not telling them that stop worrying about the name of Christ, worry about what Christ told you to do and do it, be a follower of what he said, have faith and be obedient. If we're not doing that, then all of the Bible study that we do is for naught. Okay? Because this is not about me. This is all about us. We are all in the same boat and we're trying to get to the same place. People are jumping off the boat left and right on a daily basis. They're getting misconstrued. They're being lied to. We need to just lift them up. We need to pray for each other. I need you guys' prayers. I'm happy to pray for you guys, but I just want everybody to know that we all on the same level. If you need somebody that can take you to the next level because you're having any kind of issue or whatnot, you need a pastor for some teaching or whatnot, go look at the description underneath, man. Pastor Omar and the late Pastor Darby, they will get you right. I always say that Pastor Omar is the one that you need to hear if you don't like being kicked in the face, and Pastor Darby is the one that's going to kick you in the face and let you know that that the Lord love you. So whatever kind of day you're having, whatever you need, whatever strength or backup that you need, those are 2 great examples. You might have your own. Man, have a great night. God bless you. And we will see you back tomorrow, all right? Same time tomorrow, 8 p.m. We're going to do the thing. Have a great night.